All right, let's talk big game. Super Bowl is this Sunday. It's a rematch between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. Yay us. I mean, it's going to be a great game, right?
Yeah.
Let's ignoring that this happened just 2 years ago. It's going to be a great football game between two really good teams. One team that just wins in spite of a lack of talent, honestly, across the board. And one team that is winning because they have the most talent pretty much at every single position.
Yeah.
I mean, they are so good. 5 Pro Bowl / first team offensive linemen. One of the best defensive lines in football. 2 great coordinators in Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio.
Absolutely.
And the best running back in football and 2 great wide receivers on the outside. I mean, what's the weak point of the Philadelphia Eagles? Wide receiver 3, Jahan Dotson.
Hurts passing.
Hurts passing is probably the weakest point of it.
But I don't think it was arguably weak.
No, and do they even need it? You
Still
don't even
the
need
weakest,
it. Yeah, you could argue that is like their biggest concern is, we struggle passing. Well, the offensive line is so freaking good.
Yeah.
Who cares? You have all day to back there to find somebody to get open. Come on. Initial thoughts on this football game.
I don't want to say their kicker is their biggest weakness.
Maybe. Okay, that's
Jake
fair.
Smelly kind of stinks.
Initial thoughts on this game, obviously America loses because either you get a 3-peat, which would be cool, but the Chiefs just won too much lately, and T-Swift, all that nonsense. And then on Philly's side, it's probably the worst fan base in sports, worst city in America. Team I hate the most personally. But you just talk about, it's the inevitable. It's the best team versus the best player.
Yeah.
It's the Avengers against Thanos.
Yeah, and Thanos won.
And he won the first time.
The first time.
Oh!
I don't know, now it might be the end game.
Script writers just copy and pasting.
But just talking about some matchups in this game, obviously I would love to see Chris Jones and then Jalen Carter both on the defenses, how they're going to kind of compete against the offensive lines. I don't know if Creed Humphreys is going to be able to handle Jalen Carter, or at least
if any center can, it's him.
Yeah.
If any center can.
Yeah, if I'm him, I'm just targeting the guards.
Yeah, Caliendo was.
Oh, Trey Smith is fucking good too.
Caliendo.
Going to Caliendo.
That's the
kink in the armor.
Yes.
Well, that's the word.
And Chris Jones on the other side, obviously he can line up anywhere on that D line, but who do you want to go up against?
Yeah.
You want to go against Mailata? You want to go against Lane? You want to go against a double team on the inside? I mean, it's going to be tough in the trenches. We talk about it endlessly. Trenches win football games, and it's going to be a great matchup between the trenches in this game. And then also on the outside, I'm excited to see, is McDuffie good enough to stop a Devontae Smith or an A.J. Brown?
Yeah.
I don't know. So obviously, before the season, Chiefs over Eagles was my Super Bowl pick. So I'm sticking with that in this game. I don't know if we're getting to the point where we're picking
if you want
teams right now.
I mean, I'll pick it,
but how do you not take the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah.
I mean, I get it. The Eagles, great team, great year.
More fun to
more
watch.
Talented. But I'm going to take the known commodity and Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo, and I'm going to take them to outclass Philadelphia.
Okay.
I'll give a score to 27-23.
27-23.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm looking at the playoff stats, and it looks like they've played one game based on their stats. Like Mahomes maybe had one great game, 420 yards, 2 touchdowns. But then rushing the ball, I mean, they haven't moved the ball very well on the ground. With Pacheco's been bad, straight up, only 10 carries for 30 yards. Like I'm not betting on him to do anything because it's not good. Kelsey's been their leading receiver, but that came from one game. Xavier Worthy's been solid. But it's like you said, how do you pick against the Kansas City Chiefs, man? I don't know. And to be fair, QB rematches in the Super Bowl have happened only 3 times in the past. The quarterback who won the first game has won all 3 rematches. 3-0 in the rematches for the quarterback to win. Yes. So that plays a bit of a factor in it, but honest to God, you can take everything I said 2 years ago about the Super Bowl, cut it from that video, and paste it on this video. The Eagles have better weapons, better offensive line, better running back. I said DeAndre Swift was a better running back then, and Saquon Barkley is clearly a better running back right now.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, better overall weapons. You could argue Kelsey over Goddard, absolutely, but then you've got the wide receivers, not even close. Better offensive line, pretty much across the board, although Joe Tooney, God bless him, has been like an elite left tackle.
Yeah,
He only played guard his whole career. What a star he is. But they've got a good offensive line, but it's not the Eagles' offensive line. They've got a good defensive line with Chris Jones, but it's not the Eagles' defensive line with Jalen Carter. You know, I was like, man, Fletcher Cox is a real problem. Guess what? Jalen Carter's more of a problem right now than Fletcher Cox was back then. You've got great edge rushers. Nolan Smith has been awesome. You've got Bryce Huff, who you haven't even used at all, even though you paid him big money.
This game.
Who?
Graham
Couldn't even be back. There's more presence there. Like, yeah, Hassan Reddick was great that one year, but could not run on the grass in Arizona in that Super Bowl. Linebacking core, Zach Bond's an all-pro out of nowhere.
Jesus.
Nakobe Dean's not even playing, and they still have good linebackers.
Stupid.
Their corners, they have Quinyon Mitchell, they have Cooper DeJean, they have Darius Slay, they've got Reed Blankenship in the back, they've got C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Where is the weakness on this football team?
I can tell you exactly where it is. On the sideline.
On the sideline. So
Nick Sirianni.
And they had great coordinators in that Super Bowl then. Kellen Moore is probably going to be moving on to take that Saints job. Now, Vic Fangio is not going anywhere. He wanted to be an Eagle coach his whole career. He's finally got that. But who has Patrick Mahomes and who has Andy Reid? The Kansas City Chiefs do. And that is enough. That was enough last time. It is enough this time. Jalen Hurts played the best game of his career in that football game. And it didn't matter. It just didn't matter. The Chiefs just said, okay, you're going to score this many. We're going to score just a couple more. And that's what's going to happen. The Eagles are going to say, we're going to put up 31 points. And the Chiefs say, well, we're going to put up 34. And that's going to be the game. 34-31 Chiefs. I think Chiefs end up winning this one again, and they go for the 3-peat. And then Travis Kelce gets down on a knee and proposes to Taylor Swift. They get married, and he retires. And that's his career. He walks out a 3-time champion, 3 straight years, and he calls it a career. Because he's had a rough year this year. Mm-hmm. He's got maybe 2 more great games in him at best. And at this point, you've already made plenty of money. You've already done everything you could ever want to do in an NFL career. Go ahead and call it quits, buddy, because you're going to get your 3-peat, and that's going to be that, and Andy Reid's going to eat a lot of cheeseburgers. I can't argue for the Chiefs any other way than by saying they have Patrick Mahomes and they have Andy Reid. And Steve Spagnuolo is awesome, too, by the way. But that's all that matters. Is Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid.
I don't know if Kelce walks away if they 3-peat.
Probably not.
Right?
Why not? Why not?
But one big thing, this game ain't on grass, it's on turf, so no slipping, no bullshit, complaining, hopefully from the players on the Eagles side.
They'll complain if they lose.
Oh, yeah. But talking about some key matchups, we pretty much touched on them, but Saquon versus the second best rush defense of the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, they allowed less than 4 yards per carry. And Colin, you sort of touched on it. I have Chris Jones versus the entire Eagles offensive line.
Great. He moves
everywhere. He will find the weak point if there is one.
Yes.
Against 49ers, in quotes, or in the parentheses, I had if one exists.
There is one.
And against the 49ers, Chris Jones made the big play to disrupt Brock Purdy, get through the backfield, and he singled the guy out on the offensive line and targeted him. Will he be able to find a matchup like that at any point during the Super Bowl against the Eagles? I don't know. Their offensive line is so damn good, but whoever's having the worst night, that's where Chris Jones is going to play the most snaps.
Bingo.
So I have him versus the entire O-line. Yeah. Spags versus Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts.
Awesome battle, man. Awesome battle.
Eagles don't really check a ton. They pretty much call what they're going to call and run it. And Jalen Hurts has been checking a little bit more to these runs to Saquon, a couple home runs, which is impressive. Mm-hmm. But will Spags be able to frustrate Kellen Moore and Jalen Hurts? Because Spags normally brings that heat. Mm-hmm. He did it against the Bills, really. And I don't know if he's going to, or he's going to have to disguise it against the Eagles. Jalen Hurts shreds blitz. If you send 5 at Hurts, he's dominant. So Spags is going to have to disguise his blitz as well. So that's an interesting matchup. Obviously, it's just DC quarterback, but it's going to be a big one because Spags loves to send those creative blitzes, and Hurts does well against the blitz. So what's it going to be? That's a big matchup. And then, obviously, it's Mahomes versus the Eagles defense. I get it. They're playing each other, but the offensive line of the Chiefs has to keep Mahomes up. Yep. Eagles defense also cannot only play zone. The Bills played zone at the start of the game, and the Chiefs were moving the football against them until they got into man, sort of slowed them down a little bit. Carter versus the interior of the line, really where the left guard, where Thuney got kicked out to tackle Caliendo. That's where Jalen Carter is going to line up. Because Chris Jones is going to look for the weak point. Well, so is Jalen Carter. And that's where Humphrey's going to have to be playing, kicking left a lot. And they're going to take advantage of that from the other side.
So you got Trey Smith versus Jordan Davis.
Exactly. And it's a big matchup. It's basically, can the offensive line hang with the front 7 of the Eagles? I said it, Chiefs' run game needs to step up. Yes. Someone in the run game needs to step up. If it's Mahomes, if it's Hunt, or if it's Pacheco, the Eagles' defense has been stout against the run all year, and the Chiefs really haven't had that big-time playmaker at the running back position. Obviously, Hunt has had a game here or there, but they both average under 4 yards a carry. That's not good. Turnovers is another big one as well. Who's going to make the play? Who's going to turn the ball over? The Chiefs have 1 turnover in their last 9 games, and it was a botched handoff in the Bills game. It wasn't even a pick. It wasn't a fumble. It was a fumble, but it wasn't like they got hit. It was a botched handoff, self-inflicted completely. So basically 0 turnovers in the last 9 games. Eagles have 20 defensive turnovers in the last 6 games. So their defense is just going crazy right now. Who's going to turn it over? The Chiefs not going to? Are the Eagles going to create one? That's a big matchup right there. And then I have this just written down. Juju Smith-Schuster is the unsung hero of the game. Just because why not get a crazy one? I'm going to go 33-30, same exact score as 2 years ago. Same exact ending. Give me a Butker walk-off field goal. Chiefs win. heartbreaking for the Eagles, and Jalen Hurts has to change his profile picture. I mean, his screen background on his phone to the second Super Bowl.
Second times it happened.
Yeah.
Back to back.
Yeah, he's gonna
have both.
Yeah, split down the middle, 2 picks.
So you got 33-30.
33-30.
And I've got 34-31.
33-30 who? Chiefs?
Chiefs.
Yep.
Yeah, Chiefs. Yeah. I think that something important to watch in this game is, like you said, who's going to make the big mistake?
Yeah.
Because you think about that last Super Bowl, Eagles are driving to take like a 10-point lead.
Maybe even
and
17.
Maybe even
I
17.
think they were up 10
and
after that.
fumble 6.
Yep.
Nick Bolton the other direction. That was a huge play in that game, man. And the problem with blitzing against the Eagles is if you send 5, their 5 linemen can go one-on-one and win.
I know.
They can win every
I know.
time. You have to send more than they have to beat them. And
then that opens up just somebody's unguarded, most likely, in that scenario.
And that's a real issue. Yeah. And then you've got the fact that the Vic Fangio does not change what he does.
Yeah.
I'm going to send 4 every single time.
But he does.
These 4 down linemen are coming after the quarterback, and they're going to win. That might be a problem for them unless Jalen Carter just destroys Caliendo. That's the key to the game. That's really one of the keys.
You touched on it. I mean, it's basically the same game.
It's the same
The Eagles
game.
are the better roster, better team. This is what everybody said in 2022.
Yep.
Or 2023.
The same game, but that game was so close.
Exactly.
Yeah, I know.
How
I
is
know.
it so like Chiefs?
Because there's devil magic at play. Like, there's honestly, that's all I can say.
There's devil magic at play. I'm just saying, we saw this so
Yes.
many times with the Patriots.
Yes,
We
we
said Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes. I mean, it's Bill Belichick and Tom Brady.
Yes.
How could the Giants ever beat them? The Giants used physicality every time. They took Tom Brady to the ground every time, and that's what the Eagles have.
They beat him because the helmet catch.
Yeah,
the first time at least.
And the Mario Manningham sideline.
Oh, they got devil magic too? Like,
Well,
Yeah,
the Giants
I guess,
did.
I'll say this: Mahomes
The
has
Giants did, but
7
it's gotta
playoff
start
game-winning
somewhere.
drives. 7 playoff game-winning drives for Mahomes in 7 seasons.
Yeah.
He's never failed at it
Never
in the postseason. Has never failed. If the Chiefs have the ball at the end of the game, that's why I'm picking them, because Mahomes has literally never failed in that scenario. So guys, that's my.
You know what? That's why I'm going to say it doesn't even get to that scenario.
Oh,
I'm
that's
taking
fair.
the Philadelphia Eagles 34, Chiefs 17 right here.
Oh, a beatdown.
All right? I think it's going to be a beatdown. All right?
Wow.
I really think, and here's what I'm thinking. The physicality is going to win out. Jalen Carter is going to absolutely bring it to the point where, hey, they might take a 15. They might take 2 15s and say, Patrick Mahomes, beat us.
Yeah.
All right? We're not going to let you run, barely scrape out of bounds, get another 15 yards, all this stuff. We're not going to put it in the ref's hands. We're going to let the ref say, are you going to call it every single time?
And they will.
Because if they do, it's going to get huge national attention. The refs can't do that every
They did
single
it last time with that holding call against James Bradbury that gave the Chiefs that touchdown. Like, technically, by the law of the book, it was a hold. That call does not get called ever.
No,
it was like the slightest tug on the jersey.
I
and
will
it's like,
say
yep,
though, the
yep.
jersey was like
It was- he
really
did pull it.
extended,
It was
so
a
it's like
hold.
at that point, it was for a second.
Just
but
like
like
splits.
the jersey's like completely
It came
off
out.
of his body.
Yeah.
It's like, well,
That-
damn.
we're gonna call that.
Like,
Yeah,
that's tough.
They have to call
I
it.
agree. I agree that there's so many things working in the favor. I just honestly, I feel like the Eagles literally made this roster almost for this game. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, and I know they didn't, clearly, like, you make a roster for a season, all this stuff, they just match up so well. And like you said, the Chiefs are very one-dimensional right now.
They can't
And
run the ball.
it's wild that they're one-dimensional because it's not like Patrick Mahomes has these great stats. They're winning games because everything is coming together perfectly, right? And I've said it, how long is this going to last? And I was wrong. They made it to the Super Bowl. But I really do think that, like, with the team that they're going up against where they create so much havoc, not everything can go on so long, you know, especially in these 60 minutes. These 60 minutes are going to be the hardest minutes of Patrick Mahomes' season this year.
Yeah.
I have a lot of faith, especially with that new revamped secondary, Cooper DeJean, Quinyanamo Bay.
I
mean,
love that.
He's elite.
He's elite.
He's elite.
Star.
I mean, these guys are going to clamp down who? Xavier Worthy? Like,
Yeah.
I think Xavier Worthy's probably going to be the #1 rusher on the team with 3 end-arounds.
Probably.
Yeah.
And I would count that right away. Like, I don't think there's anyone else that can really run the ball. Kareem Hunt's, his longest rush is going to be 12 yards. He's going to end with 60.
Yeah, that's
Like-
generous if he ends with 6.
I'll say this. Because their offense, sure, it's one way. They had 3 rushing touchdowns against the Bills.
Yeah,
3.
they did. And
So,
and
3 rushing touchdowns with a no run game.
with no run game.
Which it's been struggling. That's how they beat them.
Right, they did. And I will say this also, like, if the Chiefs aren't going to win the Super Bowl, man, sometimes it's about vibes. Sometimes you got to check the vibes of the NFL.
Yeah.
If the Chiefs weren't going to win the Super Bowl, they would have lost to the Bills last week. They turned the ball over 5 times. The Chiefs did. There were 5 fumbles in the game. The Bills recovered all 5 of them. 5 times the ball was put on the ground, and all 5 times the Buffalo Bills fell on that ball. And they didn't win the football game.
They also dropped 2 picks in the first drive from Josh Allen.
Yes,
You
right.
know?
The Chiefs did, right. So
I mean,
like everything went the Bills' way, and the Chiefs still won the ball game. And the Bills beat them in the regular season.
Yeah.
And the Bills matched up well with them. I liked how the Bills matched up with the Chiefs, like man on man.
They did, but like I'm just saying, like even not last week, 2 weeks ago when they played the Bills, 2 years ago when they played the Eagles, it's so close.
Yep.
That I mean,
And if it's gonna be so close, how can I not?
I mean,
take the Chiefs?
just don't let it come down to Missy Elliott kicking a field goal.
It might
you
come
know?
down to Missy. It might come down to him.
Because you're going to have to keep the pedal on the gas. They have Saquon to run that ball. I mean, it's not like, yeah, they have a great rush defense, but Saquon Barkley, his rushing prop right now starts at 124 and a half.
It's gonna be can you contain him and not
Right.
let him have the
And that's why he's going to win Super Bowl MVP.
Yep.
Yeah.
Even if they lose, I think he gets Super Bowl MVP.
I mean, he could if he has a crazy enough
Yeah.
game, but I would say he's the one guy that has a shot because if he rushes for 203.
Yeah.
Got a couple things, just not to cut you off.
Yeah, no.
Just based off what you guys have said, we talked about Spagnuolo likes to blitz. Eagles line can pick up 5, but kind of an underrated part of Saquon Barkley during at least the playoffs because I've been watching a lot more.
Pass protection.
Is his pass protection. He is willing to step up and get that free rusher.
Oh yeah,
and
he's
beat
got
him
the quads to match
and
him.
hold that. I just also saw a stat. I'm not sure how true it is because it's a Twitter stat, so take it with a grain of salt.
Oh, fake
Patrick
news.
Mahomes has faced Vic Fangio's defense 8 times in his career. 8-0 facing Vic. Maybe it's because he doesn't change.
It's because he doesn't change it.
Because
It's
he
because
plays
it's the
zone defense, and
same
Mahomes
defense
just realized,
every
okay,
single
I can take
time.
this apart every single time.
Yep.
Will Vic change a little?
Yeah, but I bet you could also say that about like almost everyone Patrick Mahomes has played.
Yeah.
you
He just
know, he
dominates.
wins so
He does
often.
dominate.
But no, I agree. That's a scary stat. I didn't know that.
And then something I saw a couple weeks ago, and I forgot to mention it during the championship game round, but it's Trey Wingo, who I'm not really a fan of, to be honest. But it's really interesting. So
Is he in the league?
No, he's
Trey
a.
Wingo.
He's at
Yeah,
like a
Oh,
he's
I'm
the
thinking
guy.
of old Vikings corner.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Mingo, isn't
Trey
it?
Waynes.
Oh,
Trey Waynes.
Trey Waynes.
Trey Waynes at Michigan
I
State.
was like, what?
Ball knowledge.
So there's been 125 times in NFL history. Well, actually, it's probably more now since championship weekend. Probably 126. Under a minute, with down 7 or less. Quarterbacks in the clutch moment. Tom Brady 5 of 11. So in 11 chances, when his team had the ball down by 7 or less,
he got 5 of
He
them.
got 5 of them to
Okay.
force overtime or win.
This playoffs?
Just
postseason?
overall.
I think it's playoffs.
Playoffs, okay.
Drew Brees was the second best, 3 for 6,
Okay.
50%.
Okay.
Patrick Mahomes has gotten the ball down 7 or less with under a minute to go to win or force overtime 7 times. He's 7 for 7.
Jesus. dude.
Right. So if this guy has the ball with under a minute left and he's down by 7 or less, he's either going to force overtime or win the game.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's literally never failed.
He
that.
hasn't
Yeah.
failed at that.
Yeah.
That's
Never
crazy.
failed.
That is an insane stat that he's 7%. I mean, he's the most clutch quarterback I think we've ever seen.
Right.
I'm not taking the Eagles in a close game.
No.
Yeah, that's why you
Yeah.
have to hope, because if it's close, it's the Chiefs.
That's why I'm saying 34-7.
And that's
like,
been the
it's
Chiefs'
gotta
whole
be-
season. How many the Chiefs are what?
It's like 13.
13 straight one-score wins.
Yeah.
They don't lose close games. And also, we haven't talked about this one yet, but this was such a big talking point last Super Bowl and Super Bowl 4. Andy Reid with extra time, 32-7 in his career. With more time to prepare than you have, or with the same amount of time, with just extra time to prepare, he's 32-7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
a
mean,
huge thing.
no quarterbacks won a Super Bowl after losing their first since John Elway.
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, if you
It's
lose
been
your
a
first,
minute.
more often than not, you lose your second.
I'll
But
say
not a lot get back either.
No, that's
No,
true.
true. Most of
You
them
know?
don't. He's the first to get back, I think, since maybe John Elway.
It's up there.
It's-
at least in the 2000s, I think.
Because
Yeah.
I know Burrow obviously was the one we were talking about most recently, where he lost his first one.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, is he ever gonna go back? I don't know, and he hasn't yet.
Yeah, because
hard
it's
to get
shit.
back.
Majority of them, it's like it's been Brady
Yep.
or Mahomes,
Yep.
you know, or it was a Manny.
Yeah, when you have
or
you seen
Roethlisberger
the
sneaking.
graphic where it's like the NFC quarterbacks since 2000 that have made the play or made the Super Bowl,
And there's a
and
long
then
list of
AFC
them.
is like
Three,
7
four.
people.
Yeah, it's like
It's,
Roethlisberger,
it's Tom Brady,
Roethlisberger,
it's
yeah.
Peyton Manning, it's Roethlisberger.
Mahomes.
Flacco.
Flacco.
It's not many.
It's not very
It's
many
not many.
quarterbacks now, because
It's
they just constantly do it, man. It's going to be so hard to stop them. And like just looking at the game from a couple of years ago, I would have never guessed that the Chiefs were going to score 38 points in that
Yeah.
game. They didn't have Tyreek Hill. It's first year without Tyreek Hill. They've got Kelsey, Juju Smith-Schuster, Justin Watson. That's all they've got.
The
Their rushing
go-ahead
attack was
touchdown
Pacheco.
at the end was scored by Sky Moore.
Exactly. And you know, and like one of the biggest plays of the game was Kadarius Tony's punt return.
Yeah. We just watched this game here and we were like, what is happening?
Yeah, I couldn't believe what I was watching. And Jalen Hurts played a flawless game. 304 passing yards, 70 rushing yards, and 4 total touchdowns.
And that fumble.
And a fumble.
Fumble six.
It's just the one play.
Fumble six.
And I think if I have to bet on one team to make the one play to win this football game, it's the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah.
I can't doubt them anymore. I've doubted them plenty. I said all year, the Chiefs are just going to win the Super Bowl. We should just accept that and move along. because that's what's gonna.
Yeah.
I would just be shocked if they lose, but I'd be okay. Oh God, I don't like Philly though. I hate that.
I hate Philly.
Yeah,
but
I hate that.
I hate Kansas City.
I do love Saquon Barkley though. I do love.
It'd be cool for Saquon on
Barkley.
his birthday to win a Super Bowl, get MVP in
Yes.
the Super Bowl, but I'm rooting for the Chiefs with all my heart.
Yeah, same. I'm all for the Chiefs here, and I just think it's hard to pick against them. So Chiefs, Eagles. Sage is the lone Eagle supporter.
And the MVP of that game
Not
2 years
supporter.
ago might have been Sage saving Sawyer's life in the garage.
True. Yeah, Sage was the MVP of the Super Bowl 2 years ago, 100%. Saved the life. As
Plus
me and
4,000.
Colin were in the corner giggling because we didn't know what to do, and I'm the one who works the medical
If
field.
Mahomes wins his 4 Super Bowls, because that was what it will be, isn't it?
Yeah.
It will have been 2 against the Niners, 2 against the Eagles.
Yeah. True. That's true. That's another.
He can only beat those teams actually.
Yeah.
Apparently. Yeah, lost to the Bucks in the Super Bowl.
We
Well,
need Brady to
he
come
just
back.
can't beat Brady.
Yeah, can't beat Brady
he just
in the
can't
playoffs.
beat Brady in the playoffs, but he can beat everybody else apparently.
Not that he can.
No.
Before we wrap up this game talk, one X factor apiece. Who's one player you think's gonna make the play or just be an X factor in the game?
Jalen Carter.
Jalen
Carter, I
is
think he's
six
going to get a forced fumble somewhere in the third, fourth quarter, and it's going to change the entire game.
I think we see a TikTok dance in the end zone. Give me
Juju
boo-boo,
going
man.
boo-boo
Yeah, he's my
Schuster.
unsung hero.
I think I'm going to go directly opposing Sage, and I'm going to say Caliendo at left guard. I think he stonewalls Jalen Carter. I don't think Carter gets a single sack. I don't think Jalen Carter gets any sacks. I don't think the Eagles get any sacks this game. Unless Mahomes takes it and just goes down, I don't think there's ever a non-broken play and the Eagles get a sack.
First drive, 2 sacks.
That would be hilarious. I might be betting that first play sack.
First play sack.
Just because I said that. No, I don't see them getting home, man. Mahomes is just too damn quick with it.
I like that.
Colin, X Factor?
So I obviously picked the Chiefs, but I'm gonna take an Eagle for my X factor. It doesn't make any sense, but I'm doing it. Don't care.
Okay.
I'm gonna go defensive line as well. I'm gonna go Nolan Smith.
Nolan Smith
I
on
think,
the edge.
Okay,
I think
okay.
he might make a big play, either a sack in a big moment or even
Mhm.
strip a sack maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Nolan Smith.
Dude,
I'm
he's
all
got
for it.
his shit for him. We gotta get ready for him. Pretty
Yeah.
much. That's
I don't
gonna
know
be
if
the matchup.
Mahomes is going to throw any
faces.
picks, but I think a fumble's in play.
I think if fumbles in play, well, that might be the only turnover we see all game because neither of them threw a pick in the last Super Bowl. It was just the one fumble that Bolton housed.
Yep.
That was the entire game.
Would love for that to happen, almost exact scenario, but reverse.
Yeah.
Patrick
They were
Mahomes
driving to
just
go
like
up 14,
kicking it
so
off,
they were up by
trying to get
7.
it. And
Nolan Smith scoops it.
Nolan Smith.
Jalen Carter causes it. We both win.
Yeah, we both won.
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, Sky Moore and Kadarius Toney with receiving touchdowns in the last Super Bowl they played. Each other. It
Yeah,
was insane.
their receiving core definitely got better from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
If we had
Sky-
Rasheed Rice, I would 100% agree with you. But we're just basically basing that on Xavier
I forgot
Worthy.
Rasheed Rice existed.
I mean,
Yeah.
Worthy, Hollywood Brown.
Hollywood Brown.
Dion.
Dion. You're right.
Dion.
Never mind. Yeah, I forgot
Dion
about. I haven't
Dawkins
even
touchdown.
mentioned him.
Hollywood
yet.
Brown going to drop a touchdown
Yeah, he's
pass
not good anymore.
on
He's not good
Sunday.
anymore.
100%.
Hollywood Brown, biggest moment, absolutely.
It's gonna be a
chokes.
40-yard bomb through his hands. I already know it. I've seen this game. I've seen this movie too many times.
I played these games before.
Oh man, he's on the Chiefs now. They just are better when they're
Oh,
on the
he,
Chiefs.
he signed the contract and the pen
And all of a
started
sudden his
glowing,
hands
and
started
he got like a
glowing.
swirl.
I mean, we saw it against the Bills, like that first drive.
Yeah.
Hollywood Brown.
just fed him.
He
Just
might have a
fed
better
him.
game than we think.
Yeah, that's been my existence as a Bears fan, watching people leave,
Leave and be
then
better.
come. Great.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that pain. Alrighty. Super Bowl is going to be electric. I think it's going to be a great football game no matter what. Honestly, I don't see either of these teams getting boat raced. They're just both too good. The Chiefs just keep games close all the time, and the Eagles are just so good. The Eagles are just so good all across the board. It sounds very familiar to last year or 2 years ago when it was like
every year they.
so like the Chiefs are not a better team. They don't have a better roster. How do they win? What do? They just win. They just win. It's what they do. Coaching, and those coaches are ready to go. It's gonna be a great game. That's all I got. Anything you guys want to add before we call it? Good.
Super Bowl MVP, Howie Roseman.
Howie Roseman, dude, he drafts so well.
Yeah, he does.
They
I would
draft.
trade Micah Parsons
So Mitchell and Deshaun
For him?
is elite.
Yeah, I think there's not many players I wouldn't trade for their
I mean,
GM.
could that happen?
Yeah, you could
I'm
totally
sure-
trade for
I'm sure it
GMs.
Could you
is.
trade
I'm sure
for
it
You
is.
trade for head coaches,
Does that
why not
happen?
GMs? Although
I'm
the
sure it
GM
doesn't
would
happen.
have to agree to trade himself.
The owner, I think, would just make the trade then.
Yeah, he'd
Yeah,
be
I'm
like,
sure the
hey,
owner could come in and
if
just
I'm a
say,
GM
hey,
on a bad team, like, can I go somewhere else? I'm going to trade myself to you for a 6th round pick.
For a 6th.
For a 6th round pick. I just would like to go there.
You go
at
work
least.
with Tom Brady and
Yeah.
go to the Raiders.
I'm going to go somewhere else.
I saw a tweet last week. It was like, you're all of a sudden the GM of your favorite team. Like, what's your first move? And a lot of the response for Eagle fans were like, nah, I'm good. Howie's
No,
got it."
Howie's got it.
Howie's got it.
Firing
That's
myself
right.
and hiring Howie to do the job. Yes.
Correct.
Amen. That's very
Appreciate
true.
that.
He's so good.
That's good.
Alrighty, that's all we've got for you guys. Make sure if you're not already subscribed to the channel that you do subscribe to the channel. Off-season content is all going. We've got a 2-round mock draft coming out this week. Super excited about that one. More free agency videos coming to you guys. If you want to know anything about the NFL offseason, you're going to find it right here at the Playbook Sports Podcast. So thanks for stopping in. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace.